Everyone, it's Frankie-Lou. I'm coming to you today from the deck at the Grow Together Homestead, where I'm desperately trying to get caught up, being 3 weeks behind on my planting due to an injury. So I thought this was a good time to show you some of the experiments that I did this year with winter sowing. I am hardcore into the milk jug planting, and I believe I'll be doing it to the day I die, but I'm always interested in how I can make it better. So I did a few experiments today, and I'm going to run you through some of them. I grow a ton of my tender vegetables in milk jugs, but I cheat with that generally, where I start them. I start them in the milk jugs, but I bring them in at night, or I keep them in my heated greenhouse. Okay, I have them outside during the sunny times, and I keep them in the greenhouse. That has always worked for me, and I probably will continue to do so, because what I did do is I attempted to grow some that were true milk jug planting, and I started a batch at the beginning of April, and I started a batch at the beginning of May. Nothing came up. I think that the cold temperatures were too cold for my April plantings that I did, and I suspected as much, but I wanted to try. Now, the plantings that I did with my tender squash and my tender tomatoes and my cucumbers that I planted on May 1st, I've got one tiny little yellow squash in here, and it's teeny tiny little marble stripe tomato. You know what? I'm not going to do this again. And that's why I do these experiments, to see if I can save myself some time. And I learned something from this. For me, in my Zone 3 area, I know some of my followers actually were successful with this technique. And maybe you could share with me how you managed when you planted your outdoor tender vegetables, because neither May 1st nor April 1st was successful for me in terms of getting anything decent out of them. Whereas the ones that I planted at the mid-March through early April inside-outside technique, the cheating technique, worked great. So I'll probably do that from now on. So that's the gist of that experiment. Now, my happiest experiment, the one that worked really, really well, and I will always do this from now on. And if I get one experiment that works every year, that makes me happy. So I'm super happy about this. I think some of you may have noticed a post that I did planting with the tops. These are microwave tops for plates for when you're cooking stuff in the oven. And basically, Angus drilled some holes in them for me one afternoon, and I basically popped them onto these. Now look at this. I think this is the prettiest thing I've ever grown. Okay, so I'm super happy with this. I will be doing this forever and ever and ever. Okay, because basically I sealed these down and taped them up. Wow, for lettuces, in this one I've got lettuce, I've got spinach, and I also grew some garlic. So I'm going to talk about some of the garlic experiments in a minute. And it's done fantastically. I actually have to thin this and start eating it right away because it's doing so well. And honestly, look at that. Happy, happy girls. I also did an experiment with radish and with scarlet runner beans. And the scarlet runner beans here did really well. Okay, and I think it's because it was densely planted. All right, so this is a keeper for me. I will be doing this technique from now on. Now, I also tried it with some more tender stuff, with the cover plates. I did some that were with sunflowers and nasturtiums and scarlet runner beans, and just that, not with any of the lettuce around it. And they did okay, all right, not great, but what did I learn from this? Okay, put some lettuce in there. It's gonna act actually as a mulch, I think. And because the ones that were planted with the lettuces, the mixed lettuce mesclun blends, are doing better than the ones that weren't. So I learned that it's better with this method with the thing on top. Okay, and I'm going to be putting lettuce in these from now on. All right, so that's a good one to act as a mulch, sort of. Okay, garlic, because I love garlic. Can never get enough garlic. I plant tons out in the garden during the fall, but you know how it is in the fall, especially with all the preserving and stuff that I do, sometimes I run out of time. So I thought, oh, let's see if we can get some going in the milk jugs later on in the year. So I started 2 experiments February 18th. Okay, I started garlic inside and I started garlic outside. They were both, the garlic inside was lovely, and then I popped it outside. And these were duds, okay? I'm not going to plant them in the milk jugs again, but I will do it with this, okay? Because this garlic is almost as nice as the stuff that I planted in fall in the garden. Okay, so learning from this, milk jug planting, well, winter sowing technique with garlic. The milk jugs, I think what it is it's a root growth. Just, it can't grow deep enough. Whereas with this, I planted them down deeper, and I'm probably going to get 3 good heads out of this. Okay, so there we go. That's some of my experiments. And that's another thing I want to say about milk jug planting. I have always loved it, but this spring has been fraught with injuries and illness for me. And man, these milk jugs have saved my life, because there's no way, if I had them in little seedling pots, all these little seedlings, thousands of seedlings, I would have lost them all. And I didn't lose any. I probably lost about a quarter of the stuff that I planted that I wanted to get in the ground, because it just was too late to get it in, because I missed 3 weeks, but only a quarter. So compared to what I would have lost if I had planted these things in little seedling pots and was trying to harden them off in and out, I literally could neglect the garden entirely for 3 weeks, and I only lost a quarter of my seedlings. Okay, so that is another reason why I love milk jug planting. I hope you'll try it if you haven't yet. I hope if you have experiments, please share them with me. I love hearing from you guys. And as always, I hope you take this chance to grow together today. Have a good one.